I don't know how I just found out about these, but there's a whole list of SpongeBob conspiracy theories by Alex Bale. I've seen a couple of his videos, like the Tomater theory, which I really, really liked, and the Blue's Clues theory, which was amazing. So, this is SpongeBob conspiracy theory number 1, the Squilliam theory. Let's check it out.
Squilliam Fancy Son? Squilliam Fancy Son! Squilliam Fancy Son!
Squilliam Fancy Son III is Squidward's rival from high school band class.
So, I just took my private yacht across my private lake to my private heliport.
He's more wealthy, popular, and talented than Squidward, and he always rubs it in his face.
This is true.
That's right. I'm living your dreams, Squidward. Oh, just succeeding in everything you failed in.
But I intend to prove that he's a fraud, using his wealth to make himself seem more popular and talented than he actually is. He goes...
Well, but does that really make him a fraud? Because I think, well, maybe it does, because he is considered like a great musician, but what if it's all just nepotism?
To ridiculously extreme and expensive lengths to humiliate Squidward and show his superiority, and I'm gonna prove it. SpongeBob is one of my favorite shows from my childhood. Even going back now and rewatching
What did Squidward do to this man?
the old ones, it still holds up. You might think,
True.
it's just a kid's show, there's no continuity, there's nothing worth theorizing about, but the show constantly brings...
I don't like when people think like that. Nah, dude, there's always stuff to theorize about. We got time, dude. We got all the time.
back characters and references to previous episodes. And if you look closely, you
Smitty Werben Jaegerman Jensen. He was number 1.
can connect the dots
Never
and find
forget.
some very interesting stories. And today, I'm going to prove that Squilliam Fancy Son III is a manipulative fraud.
Okay.
Evidence number 1, the pet hospital. We first
right.
meet Squilliam in Season 2, Episode 15.
The best episode of all time. Dude, there was a moment where the Super Bowl got these like hundreds of thousands of people told them they need to play the song Sweet Victory during the halftime show. Steven Hillenburg, the creator of SpongeBob, had just died, and all the fans wrote in. So what they did is they played like a 2-second snippet of it before the actual halftime show. It was a tragedy.
Band Geeks. The episode opens with Squidward playing the clarinet and getting a knock on the door.
Yeah, we're with the pet hospital down the street, and I understand you have a dying animal on the premises.
Oh, man.
Immediately after, Squidward gets a call from Squilliam.
Hello, you've reached the house of unrecognized talent. Please start after that.
Sounds as though you've got a dying animal to attend to.
Oh, I can already see where he's connecting it. He paid the
I believe that
doctor.
not only was Squilliam spying on Squidward to know when he was playing his clarinet, but he also hired the doctor to come and embarrass Squidward.
Yeah, we're with the pet hospital down the street. Pet hospital down the street.
We have never seen a pet hospital in Bikini Bottom. We've only ever seen just the regular Bikini Bottom hospital. We've seen
Have we not? I feel like Gary's gone. Maybe not. Well, I'm trying to think, because wasn't there an episode where Gary got, like, the ick or something like that? Did they? I don't think they ever went to a doctor, though. They didn't.
this purple doctorfish before, but once again, he's never worked at a pet hospital. We've only ever seen him at the regular general hospital.
Well, Mr. Squarepants, it seems you have the suds. Are you ready for your treatment?
Then there's this green fish behind him, and we've only ever seen him as one of the many identical paramedics that work at the Bikini Bottom Hospital. We even see him at the end of the episode to take Squilliam away after fainting. So it is very likely that Squilliam hired these two and told them to pretend like they're from a pet hospital just to humiliate Squidward.
Dang. All right. I'm already... Dude, if Alex Bale releases a theory, I'm already, like, 90% on his side, so... And he's buying me, he's winning me with this one, yeah.
But this is just the start of Squilliam's elaborate lies. Evidence number 2, the Bubble Bowl. In the same episode, Squilliam also says,
I'm the leader of a big fancy band now, and we're supposed to play the Bubble Bowl next week. The problem is,
So sorry, but if you realized I was just looking away, I'm looking at my phone, I got a reply on a YouTube comment where it's like... I'm not going to say what the comment was, but it was just like, one guy out there, I have like 15 replies, and one guy liked it, and he said, I love how everybody, he said in the replies, I love how everybody is just resorting to personal attacks rather than actually arguing against your point. And I just said back to him, LOL, that's just how it goes, man.
I'm busy next week and can't make it.
It was about South Park.
So I was hoping you and your band could cover for us.
But we've never seen Squilliam's band before, and despite claiming he's too busy to make it to the Bubble Bowl, he still shows up at the end to watch Squidward's band. So both his excuse and probably his band were made up.
And alright, here we go. I'm just gonna say it right away. We'll go back a little bit. My South Park hot take was that South Park hasn't been good since PC Principal was brought in. He was like the death of the show.
We've never seen Squilliam's band before.
They've had some good episodes here and there, but altogether.
And despite claiming he's too busy to make it to the Bubble Bowl, he still shows up at the end to watch Squidward's band.
True.
So both his excuse and probably his band were made up to pressure Squidward into humiliating himself at the Bubble Bowl. Evidence number 3.
Or he did have a band that he paid, but he pulled them out on purpose to try to humiliate Squidward. I mean, but
Squilliam's
either
friends.
way.
In Season 3, Episode 8, Squilliam returns. Squidward leaves for work and conveniently bumps into...
So we do see, by the way, that Spongebob pays off a bunch of people to become his friends whenever he's mega wealthy, but it ends up backfiring because he doesn't have all of the wealth in the world, so it ends up, he loses all his friends as soon as he stops paying them. What if that's what's going on with Squilliam?
Squilliam and
Wouldn't
all
be
of
too
his
far for these people who have been shown to do it before.
friends, despite Squilliam not seeming like the kind of guy that would come near the Krusty Krab. He and his friends make fun of Squidward for working as a cashier.
Hold it! Don't tell me! You're a cashier! Lying always makes it worse.
But I believe that this encounter was planned out by Squilliam in advance, and
He
he
goes,
hired
look at him in his underwear, or think about him in his underwear. Oh no, he's hot!
all of those people to pretend to be his friends. Take a look at Squilliam's friends. They're all nicely dressed. You kind of get the sense that they're fancy, high-status members of Bikini Bottom.
They're all
but
just
they
regular
aren't.
characters.
This is more like what the fancy rich people in Bikini Bottom look like.
Yeah.
These are just some regular Bikini Bottom citizens. Most of
True.
them usually don't even wear nice clothes like this.
True.
And most of them are regulars at the Krusty Krab and would already know Squidward as a cashier.
My daddy doesn't have enough slime!
These are not the type of people Squilliam
Wow.
would hang out with. I mean, why would Squilliam be hanging out with one of Pearl's teenage friends?
True.
At the end of the episode, Squilliam even admits to his whole life
Which
being
also, Squidward is not a squid, he's an octopus. That lady back there was a squid.
fake.
I made everything up about my life. I have no yachts, jets, or anything. I was only trying to impress you.
And then, of course, he quickly says he's just kidding.
Is that true?
Of course not!
I'm filthy stinking rich!
But was he kidding? I mean, obviously he's rich, but is there a nugget of truth in there? Evidence number 4, the statue. In Season 7, Episode 6, Squidward has to pick up trash for community service, and Squilliam once again conveniently bumps into him
Yeah,
and
and he
reveals
has the
he's
big
cleaned up
statue.
so much trash
Yeah.
the city actually built a statue of him.
Maybe if you clean up Bikini Bottom, they'll build a statue of you. Oh, wait! They've already built one. Of me!
Me?
I cleaned up all of Bikini Bottom in only 1 week.
I believe that
How?
once again,
What? Why?
this encounter was staged by Squilliam,
See,
and
but, alright.
he
But he could have actually done this in a roundabout way where he didn't pick up a single piece of trash, but he paid a bunch of people to go around and pick up trash for him, thus getting him the giant statue here.
actually paid
Or he commissioned the
to
statue.
get that statue built.
Yeah,
As
that's-
Squilliam tells Squidward about the
Either way.
statue, a female fish admires it and says,
Bless you, Squilliam Fancy Sim. Bless you.
but if you remember, this is one of those friends Squilliam likely paid,
Oh, yeah.
making her whole comment feel very fake. By the end of the episode, Squilliam's statue gets destroyed. A police officer approaches and they have this exchange.
This is your statue?
It was.
Squilliam admits that it's his statue.
He wouldn't get fined for it if it wasn't his personally. If it was the state statue or the town statue, then it would have not been fined on him.
Not the city's. And why else would the officer
Wow.
give him specifically
Yeah.
a ticket if
And
it was
dude, by the
city
way, oh, jeez, officer. Oh, jeez.
property? Evidence number 5, the concert. In Season 6, Episode 17, Squidward watches Squilliam play the clarinet at a big fancy concert. He receives a standing ovation, causing Squidward to leave angrily. But I believe this entire concert is a scam. Not only has the
Word.
audience been paid
This is the one where Squidward becomes a teacher, right? Under his false identity.
to cheer, but Squilliam never even touches his instrument. Once again, many of the audience members were part of Squilliam's quote-unquote friends, but we also never actually see Squilliam play the clarinet. The episode opens right
Isn't the recital hall also the movie theater in the episode where they burned it down? I wonder if after they burned it down with their stank, it turned from a movie theater into recital hall, because from that point on, it's no longer a movie theater.
After he's finished his performance with the audience cheering, and one member of the audience says,
He's such a great musician. He doesn't even have to touch an instrument to be brilliant.
maybe the real reason Squidward leaves...
All right, but that's kind of an indictment on modern art as well, you know? Like, oh, let's just splatter some paint on a fucking toilet seat and call it modern art.
so angrily is because the audience cheered for Squilliam even though he never even touched his clarinet. Maybe Squilliam is just as bad as Squidward at the clarinet and he's trying to hide it. Squilliam has gone to some pretty extreme lengths just to humiliate Squidward, but nothing, and I mean nothing, compares to what he does next. Evidence number 6. The Music College. In the same episode, after Squidward leaves the concert, he's approached by the headmistress of the Bikini Bottom prestigious music college.
Aren't you the esteemed Squilliam Fancyson III, who we all came here
You need new glasses, lady.
to see perform tonight?
She mistakes him for Squilliam and offers him a position as a professor. Squidward pretends to be Squilliam and teaches a class
That
only for the
wig,
police
though.
to burst in and arrest him, all while he's being filmed on live TV. And I believe that this is Squilliam's most elaborate and most expensive scheme to destroy Squidward both publicly and legally.
And people wonder why Squidward continuously gets more and more angry and depressed throughout the show. It's all deliberately done from Squilliam.
Encounter where Squidward gets offered a job is already suspiciously convenient, but listen closely to their exchange.
I'm
Build him up, break him down.
But didn't you just say a minute ago that your name was Squidward Q Tentacles?
It is. No, I mean, no, I didn't.
Well, that's a relief. I mean, what kind of a moron would go to their worst enemy's music recital?
She knows him.
What kind of moron would go to their own enemy's music recital? How does she know that Squidward and Squilliam are enemies?
But doesn't
If she
even
knew who
know. But doesn't even know what Squilliam looks like. Yeah. Either this lady's in on it, or she's a racist who thinks all squids look the same.
Squidward was, then why didn't she recognize him?
octopuses.
Why would she mistake him for Squilliam? This feels way too much like she was hired by Squilliam to set a trap for Squidward. And if that's not enough, the headmistress's associate is literally just a guy from the paid audience wearing a disguise. He just threw on some glasses to seem smart.
what?
Squilliam knew that Squidward couldn't resist the opportunity to teach a music class, even if it meant breaking the law.
My very own music class.
Then we get to the Bikini Bottom prestigious music college, and right off the bat, there's something very fishy about this place. The building itself is very green and grimy.
It looks like it was just thrown together.
And has a very cheap metal look. Nothing about this says prestigious, except for the big sign on top, which feels like the only new thing about this building. I think there is a very good chance that Squilliam just bought some old warehouse, then stuck a sign and some paint on it to disguise it as a college. I mean, look at these other schools in Bikini Bottom. They all have a very nice structure and a paint job, but this prestigious music college looks like a dumpster. Going into the classroom, not only does it have another one of Squilliam's friends, but if this is such a prestigious college, how did Spongebob and Patrick get in here?
Would you two numbskulls mind telling me what you're doing in music class anyway?
Sure. Patrick's New Year's resolution was to learn to play an instrument.
They say it was their New Year's resolution to take a music class, but you'd think it'd be harder for them to get into an esteemed music school.
How does SpongeBob... I mean, actually, SpongeBob has proven to be a musical genius, so I don't find it too hard that SpongeBob got his way into a prestigious music college. That's not hard to believe. He can make music out of a napkin. What I don't believe is that Patrick could.
If they just decided to go to it on a whim. Seems like they're just letting anyone
to blow into a drumstick.
Sell this ruse. Then, both the police, Squilliam and the headmistress, and a live news broadcast show up at the same time to arrest Squidward for impersonating Squilliam. If the extremely coincidental fact that all of these people suddenly showed up at the same time isn't enough for you to believe that Squilliam set it all up, I've got something that's going to blow your mind.
Okay.
Squilliam literally has the police working for him.
Squidward Q Tentacles, I'm placing you under arrest for impersonating a genius.
If that doesn't sound like he's been paid off, I don't know what does.
Impersonating a
genius. The lengths that
genius.
Squilliam goes to humiliate Squidward are insane. He literally builds statues and entire buildings just to make Squidward feel inferior. But why? Why would anyone go so far to embarrass an old high school band classmate? What happened between them? What could have caused this extreme level of dedication?
Question.
Well, unfortunately, we never really get much information on their past. I've spent hours reading through the SpongeBob Wikipedia and looking at old episodes, and there really just isn't any clues that would explain their real relationship. I guess we can't solve everything, but either way, that's my theory. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope you guys enjoyed.
But it was
I'll
a
see you
great
next
video.
time. Wait a second.
What? Oh, you see.
Wait a second.
Oh?
Season 6, Episode 5, Slide Whistle Stooges. Just a normal episode where Spongebob and Patrick annoy Squidward. Nothing really out of the ordinary. Except I have one question about this episode. Why does Squidward have Squilliam's robe? That is clearly not the purple robe he usually wears. That is Squilliam
and he looks so happy.
Robe.
And he looks
Why
so
would
happy.
Squidward have this? Unless they were more than just classmates.
And he knows what he looks like under his clothes. And he thinks he's hot.
Dating? No way. That's not possible. There's no evidence to support that.
Oh, yes, there is.
Right?
Don't be intimidated, Squidward. Try to imagine him in his underwear. Oh no, he's hot!
No.
No.
It can't be.
I mean, what kind of a moron would go to their worst enemy's music recital?
It's been right in front of us this whole time.
Our sources last saw Evil harassing teenagers up at Makeout Reef.
Makeout Reef.
Oh my god.
Good time.
Oh my god.
Likely to suck eggs in high school.
Holy shit!
Oh my god, Alex Bale. Holy crap. Alright, we're gonna continue with the second one. That's crazy. That's crazy. Alright. This is the episode 2, the television theory.
The show SpongeBob SquarePants is not what you think it is. There is a secret group of puppet masters who are always watching the citizens of Bikini Bottom and
Oh,
pulling
dude, is he gonna say this is like a Truman Show sort of deal?
strings. Hidden within Bikini Bottom are spies that keep an eye on the characters and make sure everything goes to plan. This is a conspiracy that will fundamentally change the way you look at the show SpongeBob SquarePants, and I believe it's all actually intended by the creators.
Alright, but who is the real character here?
I'm gonna prove it. This is
Sandy's paid. Sandy's gotta be paid. She's the only one from the outside.
the television theory.
She brought
You
in.
guys had a
wait,
great-
all right. Hold on. Let me get my theory out here. If this is the television theory, Sandy came in. She's got some sort of tie into the plot. The technology she's making is used to spy on them? Question mark.
Reaction to my Squilliam Fancyson theory, and I had a lot of fun making it.
Squilliam, you lying, deceiving bastard! I didn't even realize that!
But trust me when I say that what I've discovered this time is much, much bigger. To start this theory, we have to go back to the very beginning of the very first episode of SpongeBob SquarePants.
Okay.
Ah, the sea. So fascinating. So wonderful. Here we see Bikini Bottom, teeming with life. Home of one of my favorite creatures, SpongeBob SquarePants. Yes, of course he lives in a pineapple, you silly.
So let me ask you a question. Who's speaking in this clip?
Oh shit. Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Well, obviously that's just the narrator. We hear his voice many times throughout the show.
Yeah.
Ah, Goo Lagoon. A stinky mud puddle for you and me. Ah, the Krusty Krab. Through these doors past
Wait, so are the humans making a TV show?
all the many kinds of undersea life. Of
What?
boating
And
school,
it's like a reality TV show that they're making?
where diligent students learn the rules of the road.
But who exactly is the narrator?
'Cause he said
well,
you and me.
He's just the narrator, right?
He
We're
said
not
it's just a big stinking puddle that you and me.
supposed to think about who he is or why we're hearing
And that's
him.
where Sandy
Lots of shows
ties
have
in.
narrator framing devices we're not supposed to think about.
Caillou was amazed that Mommy had made a rainbow, just like in the picture.
But there's something different
I literally have a brother that's named Caillou.
about this narrator. He sounds a lot like he's narrating a nature documentary.
The ocean. From above, a simple blanket of water. But below, a complex world full of
Wait, that's
color,
based off a
life,
real
and
guy?
wonder.
Ah, the sea. So fascinating. So wonderful. Here we see Bikini Bottom, teeming with life.
What if I told you that he's not just some random disembodied voice? He's an actual character in this universe.
Okay.
Here we
okay.
are again at the Bikini Bottom
You got
boating
me.
school. Today is once again the day of SpongeBob's boating school exam, but more importantly,
This
this
dude knows
is the
how to
last
lock
test
me
for the
in.
year. And if SpongeBob does not pass this one, it means another whole year of boating school!
Oh! There he is! Oh!
SpongeBob literally crashes into the fourth wall, and we actually get to see the narrator and the camera he's been filming with. The show SpongeBob SquarePants is not just a cartoon. Everything we see is a part of a nature documentary television show being filmed by scuba divers. And if you're still not convinced, I searched really hard and found an old SpongeBob DVD bonus feature that basically confirms everything.
Since before time even existed, land-loving scientists have tried to learn the secrets of intelligence.
That looks like, Metropolis.
Their studies led them to the sea, where the citizens of one undersea colony demonstrated a genius so enormous, the scientists felt compelled to record their actions for use in teaching mankind how to live better. The name of this miraculous place? Bikini Bottom.
No way.
Poring over the mass of brainy masterminds scattered about this strange land, the scientists chose 6 Bikini Bottom residents at random to study. As the scientists
This is crazy.
marveled at the advanced knowledge and superior intellect of these 6 creatures,
I went to college!
they rolled their cameras and took notes. And now, finally, we can learn all of the things that these smarty pantsuses have to teach us. Life lessons from Bikini Bottom.
I don't know how it can get any more clear than that.
That's so clear.
Now, if you rewatch the show with this new information in mind, some things start to take on a whole new meaning. Throughout the series, there's this weird, unexplained running gag of a human hand interfering with the characters. It's even in the beginning of every episode in the intro for the show.
So maybe
the
Sandy
filmmakers
doesn't
are doing
tie
a
in.
bit more than just studying these characters. The hand seems to mostly interfere just to maintain the health and safety of the characters, like treating SpongeBob for the suds.
Well, Mr. Square
No,
fans,
I'm not taking my guess back. That's my guess. There she is, right
it
there.
seems you have the suds. Are you ready
All
for
right,
your
let's see.
treatment? Oh, Hans!
Super Smash Bros. Final boss fight.
It makes sense that the filmmakers wouldn't want to risk the safety of their main character. After all, there's no show without SpongeBob, but that's not the only reason why they interfere. Season 3, Episode 16, I Had an Accident, is infamous for having one of the most absurd, confusing endings in the entire show. It ends with a real gorilla suddenly coming out of a Patrick costume and attacking the characters.
Yeah.
A real gorilla? Huh?
But it's a dude in a gorilla suit, clearly. And I bet he's gonna tie that in.
Then as soon as SpongeBob
yeah, I don't know. Why would Sandy be getting beat up by a real gorilla, though? Like, if she's in on it.
begins to question the logic
I
of
don't
the
know.
scene,
She's probably
this
not
happens.
in on it.
What's a gorilla
Alright.
doing underwater in the
I'm
first
going
place?
back and forth.
Well, it's funny you should. I mean, see, George, they're onto us!
Let's get out of here.
Oh my god.
SpongeBob is a weird show, but this has always stuck out as being just a little too weird. But knowing what we know now, I think I can explain what's
What about Patchy? Because Patchy the pirate watches SpongeBob.
going on here. This isn't a real gorilla. Every other land animal we've seen underwater wears a helmet and is drawn in a cartoony style. The gorilla is shown in a live-action style, and the only time we ever see live-action characters is when they're human. So I believe both the gorilla and the horse he rides away on are humans wearing costumes. The filmmakers set this whole thing up just to
get SpongeBob out of his house.
Make the episode more entertaining. It's starting to seem like this isn't strictly a nature documentary anymore. It's more of a reality TV show made for entertainment. Who knows what other absurd elements of the show are actually put there by the filmmakers to make the show more entertaining and profitable. Although, based on the people's reaction, it doesn't always seem to pay off. But how far will the filmmakers go to make the show more profitable?
Saturday morning in Bikini Bottom. SpongeBob is watching his favorite Saturday morning show, The Adventures of Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, enjoying a bowl of Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy bland cereal, and wearing the official Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy breakfast biters.
If we think of this as a television show, this sounds an awful lot like a product placement. I mean, listen to how the narrator specifically says the full names of the products.
The Adventures of Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy bland cereal, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy breakfast biters.
Yeah.
Why don't you let me fix you some of this Numo cocoa drink?
Yep.
All
I was
natural
thinking
cocoa
Truman
beans from the
Show.
upper slopes of Mountain Nicaragua. No artificial
Who are you
sweeteners.
talking to?
What the hell are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
Maybe the Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy TV show.
That movie messed me up as a kid.
Is actually from the surface world. They are human after all. It makes sense that the filmmakers would choose to highlight...
I believed that I was in a TV show for a long time, a reality TV show for a long time.
These popular superhero characters. The more they show, the more they're gonna sell Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy merchandise. Hang on a second, why are Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy the same size as all the fish in Bikini Bottom, even though humans are always shown as massive compared to...
Well, it's because they didn't have it set to Wombo.
Fish. Whatever. I'll come back to that one later. The show doesn't even just hide product placements. In the episode Model Sponge, they literally trick SpongeBob into making a commercial for a human product.
I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. Director.
Very well.
Lose the pants! Hans, where's my star?
What's happening? What's happening?
In this scene, you'll be cleaning bathroom fixtures.
Okay. So where's my cleaning utensil?
Don't you get it? You are the cleaning utensil.
Oh, this is like a dirty film.
Oh no,
dear.
Your bathroom is a disaster. Get it cleaned up fast with the new sponge.
Oh God.
Household chores are a snap with new sponge.
He does not like
cleans
this.
sinks. Just look at that shot.
Oh my.
This is just like in real life how SpongeBob is such a popular character that he's used to sell tons and tons of products. So far I've shown you that the show SpongeBob SquarePants is actually a documentary television show, but the creators continually interfere to push their own agendas and make more money.
True.
But that brings us to an important question. Do the characters know they're in a television show? Let's go back to that clip where SpongeBob hits the cameraman.
It means another whole year of boarding school! What happened?
Oh, nothing, SpongeBob. You just struck another pedestrian.
Mrs. Puff calls him a pedestrian, which
So
sounds
she's
more
in
like
on
she
it.
thinks he's just some random Bikini Bottom citizen. The different types of marine life in
Oh, she does.
SpongeBob
Oh,
are
okay, so
so
they
diverse
don't
and
even
weird
know.
looking that it's not too hard to believe that the characters just think these filmmakers are another weird type of fish. And back to the gorilla episode, the gorilla and the horse immediately get nervous and run away when SpongeBob questions what's going on.
True.
Well, it's funny you should... I mean, see, George, they're onto us!
Let's get out of here.
Almost like the creators don't want the characters to be aware their lives are being interfered with. Now, there isn't a ton of footage of the characters interacting with the filmmakers, but I dug really, really deep and found the smoking gun that answers all of our questions.
Okay.
This is an old commercial from 2004 made to promote the SpongeBob movie.
SpongeBob, what kind of jellyfish is that?
It's not a jellyfish, Patrick. It's a spaceship.
Hey guys, it's Carlos from the Zone. I was wondering if you could answer a few questions.
Questions? Run for your lives!
No, Pat, don't you see? It wants to learn about our world, and it's chosen us.
What? Yay! We've been chosen.
A submarine comes down to SpongeBob and
And they
Patrick to
think
ask
it's a
questions to
UFO.
promote the new movie. SpongeBob and
Yeah.
Patrick are clearly confused by this and think the submarine is some kind of alien. They also have no idea that they're the stars of a movie.
Well, thanks guys. We'll see you in the movie.
Bye!
Movie? What's that?
I don't know. La, 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 la.
So I think it's pretty clear at this point that the characters are unaware their lives are being filmed and interfered with. But there are some characters that have to have some level of awareness. For example, the Dr. Fish that told the human hand to treat SpongeBob, and the
Yeah.
Director Fish that directed the commercial
'Cause
for the
they
human
know him.
world. What makes these characters so special? First off, the Director Fish isn't actually from Bikini Bottom. Before he directed this commercial, we saw him as a citizen of New Kelp City in the episode Whatever Happened to SpongeBob. Out of all the characters they could have used, they specifically chose a character from out of town. Almost like the filmmakers didn't want to use anyone in Bikini Bottom so they wouldn't risk everyone finding out about the television show. Then there's the Dr. Fish. We don't know where he originally came from, but he's an extremely suspicious character. Usually he's purple, but sometimes he's orange, sometimes he's purple with orange hands, sometimes he's a pirate, and he bears a striking resemblance to Dr. Manowar from the Jellyfish
fuck's
Convention.
going on with this
But now
doctor?
it only hurts when you touch it.
Why does he have so many different disguises and identities? What is he hiding? I believe hidden throughout Bikini Bottom are spies like this who are aware they're in a television show and keep tabs on the main characters and make sure everything goes to plan. There's so many suspicious characters in Bikini Bottom that it could literally be anyone. The mailman, the hot dog vendor, Old Man Jenkins, it could literally be anyone. But what if I told you that the biggest spy of all isn't some random side character?
It's Sandy.
It's one of the main characters of the show. Someone who's been there from the very beginning. Someone who's not even from Bikini Bottom. Someone
from
who's not even
Texas.
from the ocean. That's right. Sandy Cheeks.
I knew it. I knew it.
Sandy Cheeks is the thrill-seeking, scientific squirrel from Texas who lives underwater in her tree dome. But why did she come to Bikini Bottom? In the episode Chimps Ahoy, we find out she was hired by a group of chimpanzees to come underwater and create inventions. But why does she need to be underwater to make inventions? She could have just as easily have made any of her inventions on land. It must be extremely expensive to maintain a giant dome of air underwater. There is no way the only reason she's here is to make random inventions. I think this whole episode is an elaborate ruse to throw off the other characters from the real reason Sandy is in Bikini Bottom. To spy on the main characters and make sure the show stays on track. Many of the times the characters are in danger, Sandy conveniently steps in to save the day, and many of the wacky, entertaining episode plots are driven by an invention Sandy creates. Everything she does is a calculated move to carry out the hidden agenda of the filmmakers. Her entire friendship with Spongebob and the other characters is built on a lie. But you're probably saying, Sandy is a sweet, friendly squirrel. There's no way she's behind this. You're not convinced yet? That's okay,
I was convinced
because
before
what
you
I'm
said
about
it,
to
baby.
show you is so mind-blowing, so insanely revealing, that it's actually the whole reason I decided to make this video.
Okay.
Get ready for the big one.
Alright.
Season 10, Episode 10, Feral Friends, is the episode that unlocks this entire mystery. During a birthday party, a green moon suddenly appears and turns everyone except Sandy into less evolved, real-life versions of themselves. Sandy is completely caught off guard by this and decides to call someone for help. And take a guess who she calls.
No.
French narrator speaking.
No, she calls the narrator.
Hey, Frenchie, it's me, Sandy.
Ah, Sandy Cheeks. How is it hanging?
Oh, it's not hanging too good, Frenchie. You see, there's this...
Don't say another word. I have been monitoring the behavior of the green moon all day.
Huh, yeah, I guess that's a pretty interesting clip, yeah. Holy shit! Sandy literally calls the narrator to let him know what's going on and asks for instructions on what to do next. She's been working with him the entire fucking time.
Oh my
He even
God.
has a picture of her on his
Oh
desk.
my God, he does.
This is where I originally planned on ending the video, but there is still one small issue with the television theory. Just one nagging plot hole that contradicts everything. If this is all a television show filmed by scuba divers, then how are we seeing inside the buildings? It's not like any of the humans filming the show could fit inside them.
Sandy went in and planted cameras, dude.
It's the one annoying thing that keeps this theory from being complete. I mean, the most logical explanation is that they have hidden cameras inside of everyone's homes, but we never really see anything like that.
Oh
Holy
shit, Mr. Krabs.
shit.
Oh shit, Mr.
Season
Krabs.
6, Episode 24, Truth or Square.
No!
The SpongeBob 10th anniversary
And he
special
would.
where
He would sell out his people for money. Oh my God. Oh no.
they reveal lots of stuff about the
dude.
characters. But the most damning piece of evidence comes from when
way.
the characters get lost in the Krusty Krab vents and end up in a room full of monitors showing live footage of all of their homes.
Yeah.
Oh, my house is on TV.
All of our houses are on TV.
Gary the snail, you get down from that bed this instant.
Hey, there's my house!
Look, it's Sandy.
And who is the character responsible for all of these hidden cameras?
Mr. Krabs, why do you have cameras watching us?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I just want to make sure you all floss after every meal.
Thank you, Mr. Krabs. Dental hygiene is very, very important.
Dental hygiene?
What?
Gene, you lying
Oh,
bastard.
yeah.
Of course he would sell out his friends for a quick buck. And if there's any part of you that thinks there's some chance Mr. Krabs has all these hidden cameras for some other reason, then take a look at what happens next.
Hey, who are those guys?
I think it's us, Patrick. But who are they?
Alright, they're not even trying to hide
Wow.
it anymore. A cameraman
Yeah.
and a boom operator have been following around the characters this entire time. And just like the gorilla, as soon as they get seen, they make a run for it. The case is closed.
That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. That's crazy. Holy shit. Well, he's right.
The television theory is something the show has consistently alluded to from the very first episode to the newest episodes. Maybe one day the show will actually directly address it and our characters will discover the real truth about their world. But regardless,
I bet.
that's my theory. I hope you guys
Once
enjoy.
they jump the shark.
Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more. See you next time. Hey, whoa. Hang on a second.
I knew
You
it.
thought I forgot about
There's
the Mermaid
always,
Man
like a Marvel movie, there's always an after-credit scene with this guy,
and
it
Barnacle
seems.
Boy thing, didn't ya? Alright, here's a quick bonus theory. Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy were two superheroes that fought crime underwater and protected the sea from evil. Whether or not they actually did this or was all staged for television isn't clear, but they both spent their lives underwater until they became old and retired. But after spending so much time under the sea, they no longer fit in with human society. Plus, Mermaid Man is clearly dealing with some form of dementia and PTSD from fighting evil.
But you can't retire. There's evil afoot. What?
So, they decided to live the rest of their lives in Bikini Bottom. And in order to fit in better with their fellow sea creatures, they made the permanent decision to shrink themselves using Mermaid Man's shrinking belt.
Yep, I
The
knew it.
case is closed.
I knew it.
Again.
Dang, dude. Alright, we're going to number 3. We're going to number 3. The Mrs. Puff theory. She's a criminal. She's a criminal, ran away. Everybody knows this one. Anybody who's a fan of SpongeBob has thought of this. She is a criminal. From where? Who knows? But it had to do something with stealing cars.
This is not Mrs. Puff. You may think she's just SpongeBob's boating teacher, but you'd be very, very wrong. For years, she's been running from her dark and mysterious past, but it's finally caught up to her. And behind it all is a mastermind who's been secretly controlling her life and psychologically torturing her. If you guys thought my last two theories were mind-blowing, get ready for my biggest conspiracy yet. This is the Mrs. Puff theory.
See, alright, so I already think she's a criminal, right? I already think that. But I'm interested to see why she's a criminal and where from, because I know he's going to get to that.
I gotta start off by saying, wow, the reaction to my last two SpongeBob theories has been insane.
How does she know? How does she know? Squilliam, you lying, deceiving. Who is that handsome young devil?
I'm glad you guys are enjoying my ridiculously deep dives into this show. I mean, I have to watch so much SpongeBob and read so much of the Wikipedia to put these theories together, but it's worth it because the writers actually take the time to set these things up. Now, a lot of people have been asking, Alex, how do you come up with these crazy conspiracy theories? Well, I always start these theories by looking for the moments in the show that seem to be implying more than they're letting on. Like I've said before, SpongeBob is a weird show with lots of abstract humor, but I can usually understand the intent the writers had behind a weird joke. But then there's stuff like this.
I hope I still remember how to do this. Yeah.
And it's so confusing and weird that it feels like the writers are trying to
weird.
imply something beyond just weirdness for the sake of comedy. And nowhere in the show is there more of these moments than with Mrs. Puff. And once I started looking into
That's
it led
true.
me down the deepest rabbit hole I've ever seen from this show. So, let's begin. Uh-oh. Looks like I'm getting hacked by a hacker.
Oh my
I knew
God,
this would
it's an
happen if I got too close to
advertisement.
the truth. Well, it's a good thing this video is sponsored by
Dang.
NordVPN.
Dude,
If
so this dude only made it 3 episodes in before he got
you're watching this
sponsored.
video,
Wow.
then you're on the internet, which means at any moment you could be hacked by a cyber criminal. All of your privacy, all of your personal information, the hackers can get it all. They're probably hacking you right now. What are you even doing watching this video? You have to get out of here. Get the hell out of here! Unless you use NordVPN, a service that can protect your privacy while you're on the internet. You can rest easy knowing all of your communications and personal data are safe when you use NordVPN. And you can even use NordVPN on up to 6 devices. You can also
I'm
use
definitely,
NordVPN.
by the way, if I get some sponsors, which, who knows, whatever. If I do ever, and I slip in a sponsor into it, I'm definitely going to put myself as, like, a fake, like one of those little, you know, oh, you can use me anytime type people, but I'm going to slide myself into one of those scenes.
To unlock videos or shows
it'll
that
be
you would
funny.
normally only be able to watch in certain countries. Finally, I can watch The Big Bang Theory on Netflix. Here's what I looked like before I used NordVPN. and here's what I look like now. Go to nordvpn.com/AlexBale or use code AlexBale to start a 2-year plan. You'll even get an additional free month. And if you're not satisfied, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Now I can finally make my YouTube Spongebob conspiracy theories without the fear of being hacked. Thanks, NordVPN.
Wow.
Now without further ado, let's begin the theory. Mrs. Puff is a boating school teacher in Bikini Bottom. She's passed all of her students except for one, Spongebob SquarePants. He's taken her driver's test hundreds of times and he always ends up failing it and causing destruction and chaos that usually ends up with Mrs. Puff going to jail, despite it not really being her fault. We also know that she was once married, but her husband was killed by fishermen.
That's my driving teacher, Mrs. Puff.
Mrs. Puff? Oh, she's married.
Oh no, Mr. Krabs, she's single.
Then what happened to Mr. Puff?
She doesn't like to talk about it.
Throughout the show, there are moments like this that seem to be hinting
That
at
dude's for sure the dude from the movie, though.
her having a dark, mysterious
in the
past.
trinket shop.
And in Season 2, Episode 10, No Free Rides, we get the biggest clue about who Mrs. Puff really is. After SpongeBob fails the driving test yet again, Mrs. Puff has just had it with him and ends up just giving up and giving him his license even though he never really passed. She quickly realizes that this is a horrible idea and he'll probably end up destroying the entire town.
Oh my god.
So much destruction.
That was
this
family.
reporter asks, why? Local consensus places the blame on this negligent, selfish driving instructor who...
Remember this clip, because it's going to be very important later on. And then she says this insanely revealing line.
What have I done? Everyone will know that I let him slide through school. I'll have to move to a new city, start a new boating school with a new name. No, not again.
Yep.
No, not again. Come on, it's like they're just begging someone to make a theory about this.
Yeah,
so
for
we now
real.
know Mrs. Puff was originally from a different town, she used to own a different boating school, and Mrs. Puff isn't even her real name. There's
Okay.
something in her past that she ran away from. Now, there's been some debate over whether she's actually referring to a new name for herself or for her boating school, but I do think she's talking about her own name, because if she's trying to run away from something in her past, she wouldn't start a new boating school with her real name in the title.
Yeah,
now, when
for
she
real.
says again, I don't think she's just referring to starting a new life.
Everyone will know that I let him slide through school. Not again.
I think at her previous boating school, she had a terrible student just like SpongeBob who she prematurely gave a license to, and it led to something so terrible happening that she had to run away and start a whole new life.
Okay,
In Season
I
3,
can see
Episode
this.
5, Doing Time, we get a flashback to when she first opened up the school.
Where did I go wrong? With the opening of my new boating school, I pledge that as long as a student is willing to learn, I shall never give up.
Hi, I'm SpongeBob SquarePants.
With the opening
Right at
of
the
this
beginning.
new boating school. Let's keep in mind that this is not her first boating school. Maybe the whole reason she's making this pledge now at her second school is because she gave up on a student at her previous school, and that led to her having to run away and start a new life. She's
Okay.
pledging to never make the same mistake again. Now let's skip ahead to one of the newer episodes. Season 12, Episode 21, Lighthouse Louie, where Mrs. Puff has SpongeBob organize all the stuff she keeps in the school's lighthouse. There's lots of interesting things hidden in the background, but the first thing that caught my eye was this file labeled Mrs. Puff. It makes sense for a teacher to have files on all their students, but why would she have a file about herself? But let's
Yeah,
remember,
very
she's
strange.
not Mrs. Puff. That's a fake identity she created.
True.
And I'm willing to bet all of her fake identification documents
That's all of her stuff in there.
in
Yeah.
this file.
Yeah.
Back in No Free Rides, she just gives SpongeBob a license that she already had for him. So she clearly makes these licenses and would probably know how to make fake identifications. But that's not the only hint about
Wow, he got his driver's license on December 14th, 2003.
Mrs. Puff's past in this lighthouse. There is something in here that directly confirms all of this. As SpongeBob swallows all of Mrs. Puff's junk, we see something very interesting for only a few frames. The arranged boat teacher makes getaway. 10 seasons later, and the creators are
There it was.
still hiding stuff about Mrs. Puff fleeing her old life. It might not look like it at first, but we actually get a ton of new information from this newspaper. This is from
Distracts
the
authorities with balloon
New
animals.
Kelp Post, which tells us Mrs. Puff originally lived in New Kelp City. Then there's a caption that reads, distracts authorities with balloon animals. And do you remember that clip from the beginning?
I hope I still remember how to do this.
When she goes to steal the car, she knows that to make a balloon animal so she can distract the police. Oh my god.
Yeah.
So whenever Mrs. Puff makes a getaway or commits a crime, she leaves behind a balloon animal to distract the police. I'm telling you guys, these writers don't just do stuff randomly, they have reasons for everything. And the most damning piece of evidence from this newspaper is actually the picture of Mrs. Puff. Kind of a strange photo, right? We have seen this exact same photo of her before. In the episode No Free Rides, when she imagines what would happen if SpongeBob got his license.
Local consensus places the blame on this negligent, selfish driving instructor.
This means that this isn't just her imagination of what might happen. This is also her remembering what happened when she lived in New Kelp City and prematurely gave one of her students a license. And I'm willing to bet that the fish reporting
and she's just putting SpongeBob in the place, but that's an actual memory.
News is the exact same one who reported about her in New Kelp City. Let me explain. We know from the episode Whatever Happened to SpongeBob that reporters from the Bikini Bottom News can also work for the New Kelp City News. But the real reason I think this is because of his hair. In the entire show, we have never seen this fish reporter with hair before. Why would the creators...
He went bald!
...go out of their way to add that detail? Because Mrs. Puff isn't imagining him as he looks now. She's remembering him from years ago when he used to have hair, when he reported about her in New Kelp City. Mrs. Puff has been running from her past ever since, and is now forced to relive her experience with an unteachable student through SpongeBob. But reliving this trauma has pushed her to the point of complete insanity. And trust me when I say that you have no idea how delusional she actually is. Another running gag throughout the series is Mrs. Puff's occasional nervous breakdowns or moments of insanity because of SpongeBob, and they get more severe as the show continues. At first she did care for SpongeBob, but in the newer episodes she literally tries to kill SpongeBob just to get him out of her life. Even SpongeBob just walking up to her gives her severe PTSD.
Hi, Mrs. Puff.
Hit the brakes! SpongeBob! Watch the tree! Left!
Wait, Mrs. Puff! We're not driving!
But these mostly seem like just one-off moments, and for the most part, Mrs. Puff is still a functioning member of society, right? I'm going to show you that she's actually much.
How can she even teach SpongeBob at that point? You know, if she's freaking out every time she sees him, how could she even teach him?
More insane and delusional than you may think.
No wonder he doesn't have his license yet.
And some of the episodes she's in take place entirely in her own head. If we're talking about how insane Mrs. Puff is, there is no better place to start than the episode Doing Time. Once again, SpongeBob fails the boating test and causes destruction and chaos, which leads to Mrs. Puff going to jail. SpongeBob keeps breaking into jail to try and bust her out, but Mrs. Puff actually prefers being in jail over teaching him. Except in this episode, she has a complete mental breakdown. SpongeBob keeps appearing in impossible places until she gets thrown into solitary confinement, where each wall of the room transforms into a giant SpongeBob face.
And then she like falls off the cliff like 5 times in a row, and it just keeps resetting until she just gives up.
And then the episode ends in a way that's so weird and confusing that it rivals the infamous gorilla episode ending. As Mrs. Puff freaks out, she's suddenly transported back into the beginning of the episode when SpongeBob was taking the test. Except this time, SpongeBob gets arrested instead of her.
Help! Help! No! This is not a good time! No! I can't believe it! It was all a dream! I'm not going to jail!
Why would you go to jail? You already did your time.
Forget it.
Yeah.
So what's really going on in this episode? Was the ending all in her head? Is Mrs. Puff just caught in an endless loop? I think this entire episode is inside of Mrs. Puff's head, and she's actually on the outside the whole time, but she's been imagining herself inside of prison. I can explain. Listen closely to what the police officer tells Mrs. Puff.
Like guilt.
Going to jail.
Guilt-based
psychosis.
psychosis.
Why would you go to jail? You already did your time.
Why would you go to jail? You already did your time. And then revealing she's still in a prison uniform despite being on the outside. So this scene is obviously inside of her head, which means everything we see is symbolic. And if we can understand the symbolism of it, we can understand what's really going on with Mrs. Puff. Notice how she's suddenly wearing a black and white striped prison uniform, even though the entire episode she's been wearing this orange jumpsuit. Why would the creators go to the extra effort to draw a whole new prison uniform for her? Well, we've seen her wear this black and white prison uniform before, the very first time she went to prison back in Season 1, Episode 7, Hall Monitor. So when the police officer says, "You've already done your time," he's referring to the first time she went to jail. But why is she still wearing that uniform outside of prison? Well, she may have gotten out of jail, but she was by no means free. Having to teach SpongeBob is a prison in itself, and she manifests that by believing she's in jail and wearing a prison uniform despite being on the outside. This entire episode, every time SpongeBob magically appears, appears is all inside of her head. She is completely delusional, and hints that she's experiencing these hallucinations don't stop there. Just 6 episodes later, she goes to a house party SpongeBob throws, and while everyone is talking and having a good time, in the background we see she's literally sitting by—
Oh my god, yeah. Oh wow, she's losing her mind. She's talking to an ice sculpture
herself
of SpongeBob.
talking to an ice sculpture of SpongeBob. You can't tell me this isn't intentional. I mean, look at this. Now, back in the episode No Free Rides, there is a very strange picture inside of Mrs. Puff's home. It's a picture of Mrs. Puff inside of a picture of Mrs. Puff inside of a picture of Mrs. Puff, creating an infinite loop. This is something that has confused SpongeBob fans for years. But like everything in the show, there is a reason for it being there. One of the SpongeBob storyboard artists actually called it the biggest mystery in the entire show. If you think about it, this is just like the end of Doing Time, where she's stuck in an infinite loop of SpongeBob failing the driving test. Because it's all symbolic of what her life is, just an endless cycle of SpongeBob taking the test and failing, and no matter what she does to try and escape, she always ends up back in the same place at the end of the episode. So this picture is another symbolic manifestation of what she's feeling. We even see another one of these pictures all the way in Season 9, Episode 5, Bumper to Bumper. This is something that the show is consistently alluding to. Mrs. Puff is an unreliable narrator, and anything we see with her could potentially all be inside of her own head. In fact, I believe I found another episode that takes place inside of her head.
But does this not debunk his episode 2 conspiracy theory then? If there are episodes that take completely place in her head.
9, Episode 17, SpongeBob Long Pants. SpongeBob goes to a different boating instructor and actually gets his license. But as soon as he does, we briefly cut to Mrs. Puff waking up.
You pass.
I finally got my driver's license!
Lock your doors, bar your windows, it's the end of the world!
Now, this seems like it's probably just a throwaway gag where Mrs. Puff somehow senses that SpongeBob got his license, and it causes her to wake up and freak out. You know, it's a good bit, it's funny, but I have a question.
Okay.
If the joke is that she's supposed to be waking up at the exact time SpongeBob gets his license, how come she wakes up at night when SpongeBob clearly gets his license during the day?
Because it's all in her head.
This entire episode actually takes place inside of Mrs. Puff's head, and this is the only part of the episode in the real world.
I don't know what that was all about, but I'm glad it's over.
But let me pause for a second. I'm sure some of you are already wondering if this contradicts my previous SpongeBob video, The Television Theory. If you haven't watched that one, the gist of it is that the entire show is
he just called me out.
a documentary television show, and everything we see is actually being secretly filmed by scuba divers. And there's a ton of evidence to support it. I'm very proud of that video. You should definitely check it out. But if everything's supposed to be from a camera, then how are we seeing things from inside Mrs. Puff's head? In fact, how do we see dreams and flashbacks and thought bubbles? Well, I think the simple answer is that even though we view the show through an objective camera lens, the world itself still follows the rules of a cartoon.
You can never tell another living soul.
Wait, hold on!
What's that?
My pen is out of ink.
Plankton! You'll never get me formula, not even in a flashback.
In the world of SpongeBob, you can imagine something and other people can still see, record, or interact with it because that's just how cartoons work. Back to the theory, we know that her insanity has caused her to live a life of delusion, but if you remember back to the Lighthouse episode, she's also become an extreme hoarder, and looking at her collection of junk is like a look directly into her mind, so there's gotta be something we can learn about her from it. There's a picture of her boyfriend, Mr. Krabs, the hall monitor belt she gives her students, the mean drawings her students make her, SpongeBob's diary, a boating safety helmet. Wait.
Why does she have SpongeBob's diary? Yeah. What the hell?
Why does she have SpongeBob's diary? The last time we saw that, it was safely put away in SpongeBob's library. What's it doing in her lighthouse? And why does she have Squidward's painting? And a table from the Krusty Krab? And
oh man, she's a kleptomaniac.
SpongeBob's bike? And Squidward's teddy bear? And the hair curlers Mr. Krabs had? And that statue of Squidward? And that diamond ring? And that crown? And that bucket of radioactive waste? And that jellyfish sign? Oh my god. Mrs. Puff is a kleptomaniac.
Yeah.
Mrs. Puff has been stealing from everyone in Bikini Bottom. I can even prove that her pet snail from Season 3, Episode 19 was stolen.
My snail's up a tree. I've had her since I was a little girl.
You've had that snail since you've been a little girl, huh? Then how come that is the exact same snail
That's
4 episodes ago in the Great Snail Race?
I wouldn't let Snelly here play with that mongrel mutt. She's a purebred. See, she even has her own papers.
He even has her paperwork. Mrs. Puff clearly stole the snail from Squidward. But why the hell would Mrs. Puff steal all this other junk? What possible use could she have for any of it? We can find the answer to that question by looking at this green hat and this purple jacket. These were gifts Mr. Krabs bought her on their first date, but she ended up feeling uncomfortable receiving them and gave them back to him.
I'm afraid I just don't
But
feel
they're in the pile, aren't they? They're in the pile.
comfortable accepting all these gifts.
Except apparently she's not too uncomfortable to steal them back afterwards.
Wow.
So clearly Mrs. Puff isn't stealing this stuff because she wants to use it. She just steals for the thrill of it. Maybe stealing things is her way of coping with the insanity of her everyday life. I have reason to believe that she started stealing things way back whenever she first went insane.
I hope I still remember how to do this.
I don't think she's just talking about remembering how to make balloon animals. She's probably also referring to remembering how to steal a boat. And if that's not enough for you, in a SpongeBob comic book, she actually admits that she used to rob banks, and she wears the exact same ski mask. Mrs. Puff lives a completely delusional and miserable life, all because she has to teach SpongeBob how to drive. It's led her to steal from the people she cares about and completely disassociate from reality. But that begs a very important question. If SpongeBob is causing her life to be so miserable, then why does she even keep teaching him? After all the destruction and pain he's caused, she'd totally be justified to expel him, right? I mean, she will literally try and kill him so she doesn't have to teach him, but for some reason...
Is it like a guilt thing or something?
She can't just expel him. It's almost like there's someone forcing her to teach SpongeBob.
Okay.
Back to the episode No Free Rides. After prematurely giving SpongeBob a license, she steals his boatmobile so he can't hurt anyone. In the end, this causes her to get arrested and go to jail, but then SpongeBob tells her this.
And besides, the warden says she'll let you go early, if you do her a favor.
What's that?
Free driving lessons!
She'll get to leave prison early.
Whoa, okay, so she's forced to.
If she gives free driving lessons. That seems like an oddly specific requirement. And that's not the only time this gets mentioned either. In Season 9, Episode 5, Bumper to Bumper, we get this scene.
If only SpongeBob could pass his boating test, he'd be out of my life once and for all. Unfortunately, I keep getting reminded of the consequences if I get too angry with the little nuisance.
Consequences?
What?
Are you telling me that if she refuses to
there
teach
it is.
SpongeBob
There it is,
specifically,
right
she'll be violating her parole and get sent back to jail? Why does the prison even care if Mrs. Puff teaches SpongeBob? Is it just part of some weird community service? But things start to get really suspicious at the end of Season 7, Episode 5, Summer Job. Once again, Mrs. Puff ends up in jail, but this time she's forced to go to a prison boating school.
Oh, wow! A driver's education class.
Good day, class.
What?
I must be having a nightmare. What's he doing here?
Dear Mrs. Puff, I'm following in your footsteps and got a job as a driver's ed teacher for the summer.
But he doesn't have a license. He can't
Who
drive.
in their right mind would hire SpongeBob to do this after he's literally destroyed the city countless times while driving?
He can't drive.
Is this just another one of Mrs. Puff's delusions? Or is the prison intentionally
It's gotta be a torture method, dude. This is some Guantanamo level shit.
forcing her to be around SpongeBob just to torture her? I mean, look at the way the guard forces her to sit there and listen to him.
Get me out of here!
Oh my god, drag her back to the chair. Wow.
And look at that evil smile he has as he watches her endure this torture. There is something very strange going on with this prison. Then, in Season 10, Episode 8, The Getaway,
And she was the only one in the room, too.
Puff meets a criminal named Dorsal Dan and starts to get romantic feelings for him. This is also while she's still dating Mr. Krabs. Shame on you, Mrs.
wow,
Puff.
yeah,
At the end of
what
the
a
episode, they
bitch.
both accidentally land in prison, and the warden puts him in solitary
Yeah, there's some Clockwork Orange level torture for sure.
confinement.
Oh my god.
Warden, I found this one pulling up outside the prison.
Dorsal Dan, a notorious getaway driver. Toss him in the clink.
I'll wait for you, my little tender boy.
In or out of jail, this prison will stop at nothing to make
Okay.
sure she is alone and miserable. But why? Who's behind all of this? Why would anyone care this much about torturing Mrs. Puff? Who's the mastermind pulling the strings?
It's a good question.
Well, maybe it has something to do with her old life in New Kelp City. Maybe she crossed someone and they've been plotting their revenge ever since. But I've looked in every single frame of New Kelp City, and there is nothing connecting it back to the prison. I've looked literally everywhere, and there's not a single person from the city that has anything to do with Mrs. Puff.
He's gonna do the thing where he goes, or is
Well, I mean,
there?
Maybe except
Yeah.
for the literal warden of the prison she's being kept in.
No way.
He may be hiding slightly
No
off screen,
way.
but that is clearly
That's
the
for
same
sure
warden
him.
of the Bikini Bottom prison.
Oh
And this
my
isn't some
God.
random background character that the show reuses all the time. He is a very distinct character. You can call me out on the Squilliam
Wow.
video all you want, but not this time. But wait a second. If the warden was originally from New Kelp City, then he'd probably know about Mrs. Puff's dark past and her true identity. So why hasn't he exposed her? He's just kept quiet about the fact that one of his inmates is living a completely false identity. She'd probably even get more prison time when they find out who she really
True.
is, so why hasn't he said anything? This is where things get very interesting. So, we know Mrs. Puff prematurely gave a student at her original boating school a license, and that led to them causing chaos and destruction. Maybe this student accidentally did something terrible to the warden, and he's blamed Mrs. Puff ever since. Whatever happened was so terrible that it caused him to move to Bikini Bottom and get a job as the warden of the town's prison. And to his
Dang.
surprise, he finds out that one of his inmates is actually the person he blames for that terrible thing happening. This works out perfectly for him. He can finally get his revenge on Mrs. Puff by making her life miserable. All he has to do is reveal her dark secret and she'll be stuck in jail for much longer. Except for one small issue with his plan. Mrs. Puff actually likes being in prison.
One day down,
true.
2,500.
So he had to come up with an alternate thing to do, which was to, okay, all
to
right,
go.
I'm with him.
That's
All
just
right.
shy of 4 years without SpongeBob. I'm going to enjoy this.
So, he comes up with a new plan. Keep Mrs. Puff secret and let her out of prison early, but only under the condition that she has to teach SpongeBob. He's literally turning her normal life into a prison. And he makes sure going back to prison to avoid SpongeBob isn't even an option for her anymore, because he'll make sure that SpongeBob is always in there with her. And he's
Wow.
not gonna let her escape and start a new life like she did in New Kelp City. He makes sure to give her an ankle bracelet that doesn't let her leave Bikini Bottom.
I can't even leave town without violating my parole.
He is the
crazy.
mastermind who's been controlling everything this entire time. But guess what? His insidious plan doesn't even end there. This is not the first time we've seen the Warden character. We first see him in Season 4, Episode 2, Crabs vs. Plankton. In this episode, Plankton slips on some water in the Krusty Krab and decides
and
to sue
sues.
Mr. Krabs for everything he owns. And then guess who shows up out of nowhere and offers to be Mr. Krabs' lawyer?
What I really need is a good lawyer.
Whoa, did somebody say lawyer?
Oh,
Richard A.
what
Bottom
the
Peter,
hell?
attorney at law. I couldn't help but notice
That's
that
right.
despicable display.
Richard A. Bottom Feeder, the warden of the Bikini Bottom prison, is also apparently a lawyer? That's kind of strange. Those both sound like major careers. You usually wouldn't imagine someone being both. Then he says he'll be Mr. Krabs' lawyer completely free of charge.
Why?
So, how much is this gonna cost me?
Actually, I won't charge a dime unless we win.
Well, that's awfully generous of you, Richard. He seems
Yeah.
very confident that he can win the case, but right before he goes to court, he slips on some water and says SpongeBob will have to be Mr. Krabs' lawyer now.
Oh, this is gonna be a slam dunk.
Oh, because Mr. Krabs is dating Mrs. Puff, so he's trying to ruin Mr. Krabs' life so it can ruin Mrs. Puff's life.
Mr. Krabs' lawyer, speak to me.
Wrapped with pain, can't move. Looks like you're gonna have to handle this one, son.
He tells SpongeBob that he has to represent Mr. Krabs, even though he himself called SpongeBob a liability.
Actually, SpongeBob, we won't be needing any testimony from you. Why, you'd be more of a liability than an asset.
But it's okay, because apparently all SpongeBob needs to win is inside of Richard's briefcase.
Everything you need to win is in this here case.
Really? Everything?
Except when SpongeBob gets to court, he realizes that Richard never gave him the combination to the case.
It's,
Yeah,
all in
true.
here.
He set him up for failure.
Yep, right in here.
Is there a problem?
Your lawyer didn't give me the combination.
Either Richard A. Bottom Feeder is the worst lawyer in history, or this is all part of his elaborate plan to ruin Mrs. Puff's life.
Yeah.
Here's what I think happened. First, he finds out that Mr. Krabs is being sued, and he wants to ensure that Mr. Krabs loses the case because he wants to destroy any chance Mrs. Puff has at finding love. So he pretends to be a lawyer, even offering his services for free, something Mr. Krabs can't resist. He makes Mr. Krabs feel confident that they're gonna win the case, and then at the last second, he pretends to get into an accident so he can't represent Mr. Krabs. Instead of finding a real lawyer to replace him, he tells the most incompetent person for the job, SpongeBob, that he has to be Mr. Krabs' lawyer. And he gives him a case that allegedly has all the answers in it without actually giving SpongeBob the combination, setting him up for a total failure in court. Richard A. Bottomfeeder refuses to let anyone get close to Mrs. Puff, not Dorsal Dan and not Mr. Krabs. This guy has Squilliam levels of hate for Mrs. Puff. But why? What exactly did her previous student do that warrants this much torture? It can't be something as simple as him or his property getting damaged. It has to be something life-changing. Something like losing a loved one because of the student's reckless driving. And I think the show gives us one last hint about who this might have been. All the pictures of Mrs. Puff's house are very meaningful to her. She's got photos of Mr. Krabs, her pet snail, and of course those infinitely looping photos that told us so much about her mental state. But there is one more photo in this house that might be the key to this entire conspiracy. In season 12, episode 14, Plankton's Old Chum, we see a photo of someone we've never seen before on Mrs. Puff's wall. There's some surprising similarities between this character and Richard. The green color, the red bow tie, the overall fancy, serious appearance. It clearly isn't the same person, but maybe this is someone related to Richard, like a father, a son, or a brother that Mrs. Puff's former student killed. And the reason she keeps a photo of him up is to have a permanent reminder to never make the same mistake of giving someone a license who doesn't deserve it.
Dang.
Mrs. Puff is a boating school teacher who once made a terrible mistake that led to the loss of her business, identity, sanity, and any chance at finding happiness. I like to think that there used to be a time when she was happy, back when her husband was still alive. If only he was still around today, maybe she wouldn't have to face all of this on her own. Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed.
There's gonna be an
is what I would say if I was done. Except her husband is still alive.
Yep.
Woo, let's do this. In the Spongebob movie, Spongebob and Patrick travel to a gift shop named Shell City that's full of dead fish turned into knickknacks and ornaments. Except they end up setting off the smoke detector, which activates the sprinkler system and brings all the dead fish back to life, including a very familiar looking pufferfish hanging from the ceiling. Mr. Puff is alive. Well, wait a second. If he's alive and he escaped, then why hasn't he gone back to Mrs. Puff? Why is she still alone? Because remember, she ran away from their home in New Kelp City and started a new identity. So sadly, Mr. Puff has no way of finding her. The tragedy of Mrs. Puff's story is that her happiness is just a city away, but she can never even leave town because that would violate her parole. Richard A. Bottomfeeder probably even knows her husband is alive and is making sure they're never reunited. As the name says, Richard really is a bottom feeder. This video...
Dang, dude, that's brutal. Yeah, because he is totally alive, and he would have gone back to New Kelp City.
It took a ton of time and effort to do all the research for, so I really hope you guys enjoy. Thank you for watching, and thanks to NordVPN for sponsoring this theory. Go to nordvpn.com/AlexBale
left. There's no way it's done. This is tragic. Yeah, it is. That was tragic. Oh, wow. That looks yummy. Okay. Why would... That's more tragic. Why would you throw that into a bag? No. Where he gets his... Okay, that's funny. Wow, that was an amazing episode, amazing three-piece, I guess. Holy crap, Alex Bale makes the best theories about cartoons in the entire world, dude, I swear. Oh my god. 100% agree with everything, honestly.